One virus killed more humans than both world wars combined, and we completely defeated it. For thousands of years, smallpox was humanity's deadliest enemy. It killed between 300 to 500 million people in recorded history, more than any other disease or war. This virus caused high fever, body-wide pain, and horrific blisters that covered the face and body. Many who survived were left blind or permanently scarred. Where did it come from? Scientists believe smallpox jumped from rodents in Africa to humans around 3,000 to 4,000 years ago. The earliest evidence was found on the mummy of Pharaoh Ramses V in Egypt. Clear signs of pox scars on his face. When European explorers reached the Americas, they unknowingly brought the virus with them. Native American populations had zero immunity. In some areas, up to 90% of the people died. Entire civilizations were wiped out. But here's the most inspiring part of the story. In 1796, an English doctor named Edward Jenner noticed that milkmaids who caught a mild disease called cowpox never got smallpox. He took pus from a cowpox blister and injected it into a young boy. The boy developed mild symptoms, but never got smallpox, even when deliberately exposed. This experiment led to the world's first vaccine. The word vaccine comes from vacca, the Latin word for cow. Thanks to global vaccination efforts, in 1980, the World Health Organization officially declared smallpox has been eradicated from the planet. It remains the only human disease we have completely wiped out. In 1918, while the world was fighting World War I, a much deadlier enemy appeared. It was called the Spanish flu, and it became one of the worst pandemics in human history. This virus infected nearly 1/3 of the world's population and killed an estimated 50 million people in just 2 years, more deaths than the entire First World War. Where did it come from? Scientists believe it started as a bird flu virus, then mutated and jumped to pigs, and then from pigs to humans. It got the name Spanish flu because Spain was a neutral country during the war. While other nations were hiding the truth, Spanish newspapers freely reported the outbreak, so the world called it the Spanish flu. What made it truly terrifying was who it killed. Unlike normal flu that mostly affects the very young and very old, this virus attacked healthy young adults between 20 to 40 years old the hardest. Their strong immune systems overreacted, a phenomenon called cytokine storm, flooding their lungs with fluid and basically drowning them from the inside. There were no vaccines, no antiviral medicines. Hospitals were overwhelmed. People died so fast that cities ran out of coffins. So how did this nightmare finally end? The virus spread so rapidly that survivors developed natural immunity. Over time, the virus itself mutated into a weaker form and became a seasonal flu we see today. The Spanish flu taught humanity a brutal lesson. A tiny virus can stop the entire world, even during a global war. In late 2019, the world changed forever because of a virus most people had never heard of before. Its name was SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19. This wasn't the first coronavirus, but this new version was different and far more successful at spreading. Where did it come from? Scientists believe it originated in bats, which are natural hosts for many coronaviruses. It likely passed through an intermediate animal, possibly pangolins, before jumping to humans at a wet market in Wuhan, China in December 2019. Because our world is highly connected through international flights, the virus spread to every corner of the planet in just a few weeks, turning into a global pandemic faster than anything in recorded history. Hospitals were overwhelmed, economies shut down, billions of people were forced to stay inside their homes. But here's what makes this story different from all previous pandemics. Science responded at lightning speed. For the first time in history, scientists used a brand new technology called mRNA vaccines. Instead of putting a weakened virus into the body, they delivered the genetic instructions, blueprint for the virus's spike protein. Our cells learned to recognize the enemy and built defenses against it. Thanks to these vaccines, billions of people gained protection. Although the virus is still with us today, it has become much milder for most people, more like a seasonal flu. COVID-19 showed us two things at once: how fragile our connected world is, and how powerful human science can be when we work together. There is one virus that is still considered the closest thing to a real-life zombie virus. Its name is rabies. Once symptoms appear, it is almost 100% fatal. No medicine, no miracle can save you. Rabies has been around for thousands of years. It spreads mainly through the saliva of infected animals: dogs, bats, foxes, and jackals. When an infected animal bites you, the virus enters through the wound. But here's what makes it truly terrifying. It doesn't travel through your blood. It quietly moves along your nerves, slowly making its way to the brain. By the time it reaches the brain, it is too late. The symptoms are horrifying. Extreme fear of water, hydrophobia. Even the sight of water causes painful throat spasms, foaming at the mouth, sudden aggression and confusion. The person can become violent and try to bite others, spreading the virus further. This is why rabies is called the real zombie virus. Why is it so hard to cure? The virus hides inside the nervous system and crosses the blood-brain barrier, the protective wall that stops most medicines from reaching the brain. Once symptoms start, the virus has already taken control. But here's the hopeful part. If you get the rabies vaccine immediately after a bite, before symptoms appear, it is nearly 100% effective. The vaccine gives your body time to build defenses before the virus reaches the brain. This is why, even today, rabies kills tens of thousands of people every year, mostly in areas where people don't have quick access to the vaccine.